The Orville, Season 2, Episode 12, Sanctuary.
Good episode.
Girl power.
it's,
Literally.
it's a very it's a very science fiction thing, and this is something that feels like it would be right out of TNG.
Yeah. I mean, it even has Deanna Troy in it.
Yeah, I think Sirtis as a teacher is very apropos. It seems like that's a really good use of her. Her being the teacher now, I guess now if they want to have anything dealing with education, they have to bring in Sirtis in, unless they want to change the teacher again. But then again, they could have, if there was more this season where they're going to visit there, they could just record it all at once. And have her there for, because her scenes weren't very long. Important, but not very long. And so yeah, if she had other stuff in the subsequent episodes, they're gonna have to call her in for, okay, we need you. They probably would have just had her record those the same day, but yeah, she's very believable as a teacher.
She has the right tone for it.
Yes. But yeah, and it's always nice. I love it when they bring in Star Trek alums. It's like, yeah, Discovery, yeah, we've got your alums doing cameos over here. Hi.
This is what Trek should have been. You suck, Discovery.
Now, guys, let's not get into an hour-long tangent about Star Trek.
Yes.
Yeah.
But just to cover it, Sirtis does a fine job. And it's nice having her.
Totally.
And she is more believable as a teacher than she is as the head of the, I forget what it is, but the Israeli CIA.
Oh, Mossad. Yeah. She's a lot more believable as a teacher than
as a
Mossad
teacher than as the head of the Mossad.
But then again, that could be part of her strength, is that you don't think she's imposing, but then like you turn around and she does some, spy stuff and just flings stuff that you're not expecting because you underestimate her.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think as a teacher, as a counselor, very believable. Less so as a Mossad director, but it was on NCIS, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, it was NCIS.
Yeah, I forgot about that for a second.
She took over after Ziva's dad died.
Yeah. Let's see. So we've got our Sirtis circus gone out of the way.
Jack has the exact same blocks as the ones that Topa and Olivia were using.
Oh.
That's not terribly surprising. Mass produced. It's probably, there's like, the prop department probably goes out to a toy store every once in a while and goes, okay.
Those are really, really annoying to work with, too.
But yeah, I imagine the studio has just like, yeah, here's our toy room. We just have a billion toys. If you need a toy for a toy, need a toy, we have something like that. Oh, you need a teddy bear. We've got a half dozen over there. Different sizes, different configurations.
Some of them turn evil.
Yeah, that one we can rig up with glowing eyes if you want it. It's just like,
they actually do have teddy bears and like stuffed animals of various types that when you I forget what you do, but you squeeze it or something and its face turns evil.
Yeah, I've seen that.
The mouth opens up and it's got fangs and evil eyes and shit like that.
Yeah, if you give that to a young child, you're a horrible human being.
Excuse me.
I don't know. My nephew might like it.
Well, yeah, I was talking about young enough that that they couldn't enjoy the scary parts of it. It would just make them cry. It's like,
I give it to all
Hey,
the
he's
children.
4.
yeah,
He's just mini me.
you were saying.
I'd give it to all the young children.
Yeah, me too.
It'd be a great lesson.
Things that are cute are also scary.
Especially bunnies. Bunnies are not cute, but they are still just terrible.
It's like one comic I read. It's like, you can't give her a sword. Well, it's a great lesson. It's like she'll get hurt. A really good lesson.
Those guys were really, really suspicious at the very beginning. And it's like, they looked like they were carrying a bomb or something. And then it's just a baby.
Yeah, but
I'm glad
it's
not something bad.
They're just so suspicious.
It's it's so big and bulky. It's like, I suppose they have the nice thing of being engineering people, so they're like, they have they have the oh yeah, it's some equipment I need.
Mm-hmm.
Or were they? I think they were engineers. Yeah, because they were. No, wait, there was something.
No,
else.
they weren't engineers.
That was the other.
They were transferring to a science vessel.
Yeah, science
according
vessel.
to that. So they're scientists, and it was actually the excuse that Bordis used was it was perishable.
Yeah, perishable.
Experiment or something.
Experimental materials.
Yeah.
But which also brings up the interesting point of the they have these people, just sort of disappearing off the map, all the time, with the sanctuary planet. And
it's basically the Amazons.
yeah, but okay, here's my thing is, okay, they saw from the records the Mocklins would have known, okay, he's transferring onto this science vessel. Then when that science vessel docks or something, they're no longer on the vessel somehow.
No, because they probably were going to transfer back to the science vessel after getting the kids settled in. Because if you notice, there weren't a bunch of guys there.
Maybe.
And if there weren't a bunch of guys, then where would all the fathers be?
Yeah, and the other thing is that they said one of the things that makes, okay, if they're just leaving their kid there, which, okay, that's got to be hard, but I guess it's better than
They're
having
leaving their kid to be safe instead of being forced to change who they are.
Yeah, they can either be with the kid or have the kid not, messed with.
It's kind of like the parents who give their kids up for adoption because they know they can't give the child what they need.
True.
Yeah, but I guess they managed to keep the birth off record. They do lay an egg, so
yeah,
it wouldn't be as hard to hide as as
a big old belly.
Yeah, as a live birth. You lay an egg. There's not a lot of medical treatment needed. For an egg.
That container they used to carry the kid, it was the way the child was settled into it when they opened it up.
Yeah,
means
they
the
would
kid
just
was
fall.
like sideways.
Yeah, it's like, does the kid fall down when he picks it up?
I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's in a stasis field, so you would presume that it's like held in place. Because if you notice, it was kind of floating there, but then is it floating sideways or what?
Yeah. And
I
also,
assume so.
it technically is perishable.
It is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's what was I say? But anyway. Yeah,
And this
so
episode reaffirms how much I hate Clyden.
yeah,
Yeah,
Clyden's a bit of a dick.
He
I hope
actually, that's exactly what I wrote. I'm like, I really, really hate Clyden more and more. He's such a dick.
I hope I do hope he
I,
redeems himself and turns
I mean,
better.
he was a female. He was born a female, and yet he's still so sexist. I mean,
it yeah, it's just
s- insulting females of other races just because females in his race are frowned upon.
Yeah, I hope I hope he redeems himself.
Gets castrated.
but
But I mean, Bortus, who seems like he's the tough guy of the family, is showing more and more compassion and heart and showing to be more of a genuinely nice guy. And Clyde there is just a complete tool.
but no.
And it kind of was Bortus's fault this entire episode, though. Well, mostly Clyden's by default because Clyden's an asshole.
Yeah,
But it was mostly Bortus's fault because if he had just
Not
told
brought
them,
Topa. Well, if he'd brought not
well,
brought
if he had
Topa,
not brought Topa to the thing,
yeah.
then
that
I
would
knew
have
I was gonna tell.
that would have been it.
yeah,
Nothing would have happened. They would have gotten off on the other ship, and that would have been the end of it. Because none of this would be discovered. Because Topa would be unaware of it. He wouldn't tell Clyden, and Clyden obviously told the captain and everybody. But yeah, either
well, no,
way,
Topa told his dad, his
not,
papa. His papa's an asshole who's like,
yeah,
"Hey, look, they're they're pirating little babies."
but
That little girl should have been made a man.
yeah, it would have been. That's the problem with one of the key sort of moral conundrums of Bortus. This with him not telling the captain was because if he tells the captain, or at any rate it gets around to somebody, keeping that a secret is going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
And so if what people don't know, they can't spill. If it's only him that knows, then yes.
Yeah,
Which it seems to me that one thing that was interesting was that obviously the worry about child trafficking, and that's bad, and you need to check for that. But Bortus had a scanner in his hands. I mean, maybe it's not built to do that, but you'd think, at that level of technology, is like, yeah, scan that, yeah, that kid and those parents, yep. That would have if he had a scanner.
Or he could have just gone and gotten a medical scanner.
Yeah, or yeah, if the doctor reports, hey, I'm missing a medical scanner. Why would somebody take a medical scanner?
Yeah.
And then that was how they figured it out. It's like that would have been interesting. Like he's trying to keep it on the down low and make sure everything is good before he, you know, you know, does that.
But like you said, he didn't really see a reason for them to lie because it's not like they were, trying to kidnap a kid. They're trying to protect the child.
Yeah.
But well, yeah, you can't know that. Is it, if assuming everything is as it appears to him, yes. But that's the other thing is you can't know it, and that's mostly what Mercer's issue was. It was like, yeah,
Plus, I mean, Mercer had a bigger, a bigger responsibility. He had to make sure that the ship itself wasn't liable for human trafficking
yeah,
or Mocklin trafficking.
yeah. And the
I
other thing
guess.
was like if they, you know, if they had being, if they had, with all the things that they've got, like all the work that they've gone through to have this sort of underground railroad of female Mocklins, you'd think they would have figured out a better way of providing power for the stasis box.
True.
It's like, you know,
Because nobody else had that issue at any point.
yeah, it's just like if they, and if that technology is discovered to be, because if you don't know that that's a, a miniature stasis thing, if that's an underground technology, you just think, oh, that's luggage. But once you know what that is, it's going to get checked. And you're going to have to drastically change what it looks like in order to continue using it. And once somebody gets caught with it, they're going to be sending out, Mockless wide, things. If you see somebody with this package, alert authorities because that's a baby stasis box. And so,
although now that's been disbanded, they
yeah,
aren't allowed to do that anymore anyway. So
yeah, but thinking about it as what it was beforehand, but yeah, there's a lot of chain of problems here that would have allowed this thing to just slide right past, and nobody would have been the wiser. If they had planned better for their power needs, if Bordas hadn't brought Topa with him, if Topa hadn't said anything to Clyden, if he'd kept his mouth shut. I mean, it's a kid, and it's him, but so you can't really get that mad at the kid, but especially when he's had a heavy dose of Clyden talking to him.
yeah,
he's been indoctrinated into that sort of,
it's your dad, and your
yeah.
dad is like,
One dad
female,
says this,
so.
one dad says that, but you're spent in a larger amount of time with the other one, so he's going to have he's going to have more weight because he sees him more often, deals with him more often.
Yeah.
Also, I like that they're keeping with the whole using musical themes for like the episodes.
Dolly Parton.
Oh shit!
like they used it for a few different stories.
Yeah.
They did the Singing in the Rain one. They did the what was it? The one with where the krill woman
Yeah.
pretending to be human.
Nothing in this world excepting fishes.
Yeah, and
Nothing
they
left
used
on Earth excepting fishes. Yeah.
Except
I
Yeah,
don't remember what song they used, but they had
it
that
was an
one.
artist. It was like Billy. I think it was Billy Joel.
Yeah, I think it was Billy Joel.
I'll I'll look it up, but
I like that they keep sticking to different themes with the music, you know?
yeah. Well, you know it's probably McFarlane sort of pushing those sorts of things. It seems like
Yeah.
something that would be. Um, let's see.
It's a cute little trend they have.
Yeah, it's just random. The Dolly Parton.
I know. She's like,
Why
I
Dolly?
love I love that she used it during the
I know.
it's like that man's out to get me.
And Mr. Boss is like looking. It's like, is she quoting Dolly Parton?
Yeah. He's like as a famous human once said, and he's like, oh God, I am so sorry. And and Parsons like, what? Like, just don't ask. Did she just quote us Dolly Parton song? Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it technically worked. Kind
Right?
of.
Yeah, well, it kind of ended up in a
I
China
love
Taiwan sort of situation where they're pretty, they're still, everybody sort of is supposed to recognize them as part of Mockless, but they act more independent
Yeah.
because they're not, are they going to start trying to govern that planet from Mockless, or are they just going to leave them alone and say whatever, just you
I
are
love
Mocklin?
I love the I love Mercer's way of getting them to shut up.
Yeah.
He's like, well, think about it. You won't be strong enough, even just you and the Krill, to fight the Cylons. So when the Cylons attack, they'll probably leave the women alone because they're just useless. I mean,
Well,
like
no,
you said, women are
it would
useless.
fly
They're
under
not.
the radar because it's
They,
hidden in the nebula.
yeah, and
But you'd
there's
still
just
be
like,
a single sex species. It would
yeah,
just be
you'll
all
still be
female.
a single sex species. You'll just all be women now.
Oh God.
And they're just like,
But yeah, that was the other line that I was going to bring up about the pointing out that oh, what was it? Um, that it would they would leave them there is because he
yeah,
said it was a single sex colony, so that would preclude there being a lot of parents.
yeah. But I mean, it makes sense because, leaving your child there who hasn't been, you know, put into society and nobody even knows they were born. Because you know how many even humans who have like full, 9-month births get like just abandoned by the side, left at a, orphanage, church, whatever,
Yeah.
and nobody knows about it. So, I mean, imagine laying an egg. It's so much easier to just lay the egg, hatch it and send it off, and hopefully they'll have a better life there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's better for them for that to happen.
Yeah, which brings an interesting thing to this is if they're no longer going to be, Mockless is no longer going to go after them. If they hold to their end of the bargain, the parents can now freely visit their kids,
They can.
or it would seem that way, unless Mockless gets to being a dick about it. But As long as
Mm.
Which,
Mockless
I
isn't
mean,
being
if Clyden's any indication, they
yeah,
probably
if
will.
Mockless isn't being a dick about it, now parents that have had these kids can now go visit them and see that see them grown up or whatever it may be. But then again, it may also be a problem for them because then they'd get charged with something. Oh, you had a kid and you dropped him off there. You're a violation of this code, so you can't go visit them.
Yeah.
They could be a real dick about it like that, but
They probably will be.
yeah.
They're
But at least you
misogynistic,
know that they're
and it's kind of interesting the fact that, as they put, there are a lot more girls born on Mockless than they'd like to admit.
yeah.
So maybe even, instead of just being like 0.001%, like they said, it could be a good, 1, 2, 3% of the population are actually female, maybe even more who get gender reassigned.
Yeah.
Well, if they don't make that public, they could hide the numbers if they didn't care.
Exactly.
It could be, it
It
could be
could be that
significantly higher.
it could be that it's a normal species where there
They're
actually
actually
is a
born 50
binary,
50. It's an
you
actual
know,
50 50, and like
they
they
just
just don't.
correct them all
Yeah,
on the,
they just
on the
correct
down
half the
low.
population. Correct in big air quotes, but
Yeah. They just reassign half the populace in order to fit their ideal race.
yeah, yeah. There's no telling. I mean, just we have 3 Mocklins on the Orville. 2 of them were born female.
Yeah.
I mean, small sample size, but
Yeah.
small sample size. But 2/3 of the Mocklins were born female on the Orville, so
And then there were 3 more who were on there, and hey, look, one of them. So half 50-50.
and then you got to take into account the engineer from Deflectors.
Yeah.
He was male. We don't know his status, whether he was
Yeah.
shifted or not. It's impossible to know. He was his problem was something else, but
Yeah. But he liked women.
yes.
I bet if he hadn't if he hadn't been locked up or exterminated himself, I forget which, he probably would have been happy on that planet.
Yeah. I was. Part of me was kind of hoping that we would see him on that planet.
No, because they didn't know about it.
Well, I mean, I know he got locked up, but I was like thinking maybe somehow the resistance or whatever broke him out and snuck him there.
Well, maybe now they will.
Yeah. See what else was there. Interesting bit
Well-
of larger grand game politics in that we got we'll renounce union membership and we've got the weapons. It's like
Yeah,
you're
but
you're on you be on your own. We could go with the krill, but
you still won't have the numbers.
yeah.
What good is all the guns if you don't have anybody to shoot them?
Mm-hmm. And use the union's shipbuilding. The union's got all the shipbuilding facilities. You've got all the weapons. Together we work together, which makes it interesting. And I would think they would try and at this point, if Mockless is doing that, some other planets might get into the weapons making business as a, all right, let's make our own weapons. So if Mockless decides to go off, doesn't matter. We got another one over here. You can have a rivalry. It's like, a friendly rivalry. Yes, we make weapons. We make weapons. Our weapons are better. No, our weapons
That
are
is the birthplace of consumerism.
Well, competition drives innovation. When you have just like one monopoly, they don't have to innovate because we can just throw out the same stuff we've already thrown out, and not a big deal. But if you have competition, well, they gotta compete with somebody for the respect or whatever they're getting at to make weapons.
Yeah.
Also, at least Topa learned a lesson on equality.
Well, he's at least not treating the female children at the moment any worse than equally. We don't know what his attitudes are, whether it's the stuff is stuck or not. But yeah, we don't know. We know how he's acting outwardly, but we don't know whose ideas he's really internalized at this point. Whether he's just keeping a low profile and not acting on it because he doesn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. Do you think the females can have children?
I don't know. We don't know. We don't know that much about Mocklin female biology.
True.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised they don't have like technology to scan the egg to see if it's gonna be a girl or a boy.
Yeah, that is an interesting thought. Like ultrasound. Do they have ultrasound for eggs?
I didn't expect it, but this is like in the future, like hundreds of years.
Yeah. It wouldn't even need to be ultrasound. It'd be like some futuristic scanning mechanism that they've got that they can just see inside. It's like, and at that point, I would think they could also, if they can do enough to do the corrective surgery to swap them over, wouldn't there be a method by which you scan the egg initially? If it's going to be female, you have maybe a treatment you can do at the early stages of the egg to affect the way the egg develops, and the egg will develop into a male without having to actually do any surgery after the fact.
Yeah, and you know what they should really just do? They should just have all the Mocklin leaders watch Rudolph.
And eat Rocky Road ice cream.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting this is an interesting point in history that we don't see a lot with cultures in like Star Trek. Like, we don't see it a lot. We see it occasionally, but big cultural shifts inside a culture. Like, the cultures are basically sort of semi-fixed at the point of when you get to Star Trek. Like, the Vulcans are one thing, the Ferengi are one thing, but the Ferengi do get in DS9 this sort of change. It's a bit like, it's more towards the end, and it's small and it's subtle at first, but it's a change that the Ferengi go through. And to a certain extent, the Cardassians are kind of going through at the end of DS9, but we just don't know what they're going to look like when they come out of it. So we don't really see the Cardassians post the Dominion War. We don't really see them afterwards. They're rebuilding. We don't know what they'll become. I mean, there's a possibility they become great. There's a possibility they become terrible. We don't know.
I can't get past that name.
What,
Last week,
Cardassians?
Cardassians.
There's no H in there.
Feel that.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing to see a culture change.
Yeah.
And the Mocklin culture hasn't really changed. We've seen them be who they are, but we haven't really seen the cultural shift. Which, if this goes a few more seasons, we may very well see Mocklin culture start to shift a little, especially with the island, the sort of island planet of women that is just sort of hidden in that nebula. But it does set up an interesting thing for, them to have a Ferengi-like arc where they start off this way and then they start having a cultural shift over time. Or Cardassians with a much sharper change. They may fall back into their old ways, but at the end of DS9, we just don't know. With the Obsidian Order out of the way, they might actually go back to a more... What we hear Picard sort of describe before, the government took over, which we don't know whether, how much of what was said by, his torturers, how much of that was accurate and how much of that was propaganda. But yeah, it should be interesting to see if we get a culture shift, if we get a season 3, 4, whatever. It's really annoying that they haven't bothered to do that. But then again, Fox is now owned by Disney, so yeah. Other than sports and news, Disney owns Fox, all the Fox stuff. I think it finally went through recently, or it's going to be.
Yay!
So,
yeah, everybody's a Disney princess.
What?
Everybody is a Disney princess now.
Yes, Deadpool's even. Though they've said they're going to basically leave Deadpool alone as a sort of, you're not part of the MCU, but we're not going to get in your way either. We're going to let you be you. Because you're Deadpool and you're who you are and you can't really... you can't make a Deadpool movie that's good and sort of MCU clean. But
well, they did do that thing with the second Deadpool movie where they remade it into a PG-13 version called Once Upon a Deadpool.
Yeah, which the only way he was going to allow that was that Ryan Reynolds was going to agree to it was that it was going to charity. Like, you can release a PG-13 thing, but I've got two requirements. The kid from the guy who played the kid in
Princess Bride,
and it had to be giving the money to charity.
He's a good guy.
He seems like a nice guy anyway, from everything you can see. But yeah, so we don't know whether Orville, Disney likes the Orville, doesn't like the Orville. What their reaction to now being sort of in charge of Fox and whether the Orville goes forward. It should be.
Even if they're like, we don't really like this, hopefully they can just like move to a different network. It's like, okay, we're gonna be on this network now.
Yeah, there's that, but I mean, Last Man Standing was on. I forget what it was on, But it got ABC. It was on ABC, which is a Disney channel. ABC is owned by Disney, so
Yeah.
they left ABC because ABC canceled them. They went to Fox, and now Disney bought Fox. So Last Man Standing is back on a Disney channel. But
Disney's gonna own everything, aren't they?
they already kind of do. But any other things about
Mm,
Sanctuary?
Let me think. Do you think the crew is all gonna get fired because they shot on that ship?
Technically, the Mocklins attacked first.
True.
They sent the shuttle down. Did not fire on the Mocklins. The Mocklins, hit them with a tractor beam. They were holding a Union vessel without their request or either needing or wanting their assistance. So they acted first. And at this point, I think everybody is, with what they did on the planet and what that would probably look like in the Union news, I think they're probably happier with everything kind of just being swept under the rug at this point.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah, we went down to the planet and, we started, picking these people up, and we're starting to see that people really don't care for our methods. So, you know what we'll do? We're not going to press anything on the whole, attacking our tractor beam. We're not gonna bring anything on that, and yeah, we're just gonna let this thing quietly go away.
Yeah.
But
Doc has been very quiet.
Doc is very tired. Doc may be asleep.
That may be true. Let me sing them the song of love. Wow, 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 wow.
Yeah, she either got up to do something real quick and didn't say anything, or she's asleep.
Yeah, I can't really blame her. No, but overall, it's a good episode. And please don't tell me we're gonna have to wait another 2 weeks for the next one.
I think it goes right into the next one. I think we've had our breaks.
Okay, good.
I'll double check, but
This is getting annoying. It's like, wait 2 weeks for each episode. Like, what?
yeah. All right, the Orville. Season 2.
Now, I'm glad to see Isaac being treated well. I kind of figured there would be a little bit of malice towards him from like other crew members.
Well, we haven't really hit that yet. They kind of put freezes on those sorts of things while they're handling other things. And this was a Mocklin episode, so anything dealing with Isaac is probably going to be pushed to the back burner. And if it is taken care of, it's taken care of, in the next, 1 or 2 episodes. Yeah. The next episode is tonight, April 18th, and the final episode of the season is 25th. So, yes. No more waiting.
Good.
Well, more than normal.